Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning and welcome to Encounter. My name is Joe Sellepack. I'm the Executive Director at the Broome County Council of Churches and your host today for the Encounter Show. One of my favorite fundraisers that the Council does every year is our Dining for Dollars event. I have served in that, I think, for 10 years straight. I sing for tips, and people give me tips, but all the money that we earn from that goes to help pay for our Faith in Action Volunteers program. Faith in Action Volunteers is our program that helps people who are over 60 years old live independently in their own homes. And it's a very important program for the Council of Churches, but this Dining for Dollars event is really brings people in from many different churches, many different congregations around the area, and we get together and we celebrate clergy for one night. And we eat a meal and the clergy serve, but it really is about the clergy. And do you think that the clergy really like this event?
Oh, I think they do. I think it's a lot of fun. There's a little bit of competition, but it's all friendly, and I think the congregants that come to support their clergy really enjoy having a good time with them. So I get a lot of repeat clergy every year.
Yeah, I always feel a little bit like a rock star, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you get to sing a little. Yeah. You get to do little errands to earn tips while you're serving dinner.
Yeah, I get everybody coffee. The coffee thing was always went over pretty well.
Sure.
But what are some of the things that we might be able to look at the event?
Well, the event is just a fun time. We have a very good meal. It's at the Polish Community Center, so if you like chalupki, that's the place to be. Of course, the clergy servers are fun. We have raffles, we have basket raffles, and just a fun time to get together. And this year we may have some special guest servers.
Oh my.
Which will be people that you might recognize helping the clergy. So we're really looking forward to adding that element this year.
Excellent. So my guests today are Sue Spencer. She's the Faith in Action Volunteers Director. And and Mike Leahey, who up until just a little while ago was the Child Director, but he now has a different title at the council. What's your title now,
Mike? Now I'm the Director of Development.
Director of Development.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Community Relations.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so you've been in that role for about 2 months now.
About 2 months. Yep. Still learning everything and trying to learn about all the different ways that the council serves the community.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, I really think that you'll do a good job at that.
Thanks.
So let's talk a little bit about Faith in Action Volunteers. What are some new things that are coming online there?
Well, one of the new things, which actually started a year ago, was our shopper program, which is a partnership with Office for Aging. This is a program that serves seniors who maybe have difficulties getting to the grocery store or have disabilities that make it difficult for them to shop for themselves. Office for Aging will refer people to us, and then we match them up with a volunteer who shops for them on a regular basis. They work together to set up the schedule, and the shopper comes, gets their list, and their money, goes shopping for them, comes back, and we'll help them put their groceries away. So really nice little program. It not only serves the purpose of getting groceries, but it also provides a little companionship and friendships develop, and it really is a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah, and it seems to me as if that program kind of highlights that it's really not about. One of the things that we do is we provide vehicles and transportation and a lot of things like that, but really, I mean, Faith in Action Volunteers is more about that real connection that we establish between a senior and a volunteer,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our volunteers, they may be the only person that senior sees that day or that week, when
Right.
they come to the door. So my volunteers are great. They've all got big hearts. They love what they do. So it really is a win-win situation for both. And we're able to help them get their groceries and stay healthy and stay in their homes for as long as possible.
And that's an important thing. Now, what about Chop and Chat?
Well, Chop and Chat's another new thing. That's been going on for a year also. So the Chop and Chat program was a collaboration with Chow, and we would go to the markets and we would take a recipe and the ingredients and encourage people to sit down and chop and prepare the meal and chat at the same time. So they get not only some healthy ideas about food, but they get some time to socialize as well. So.
And yeah, another one of those indicators about how you want to get fresh fruit and vegetables to people so that they live more of a healthier life, but really you also increase their connections, and their one of the big things that hits seniors, right, is isolation, right?
Yes, isolation is huge. A lot of seniors live alone. Their family may have moved out of the area for work, or their families are busy with their own families and they spend a lot of time alone. And they've done a lot of studies. Isolation can cause it can increase the possibility of dementia,
Right.
Health issues, depression, mortality rate. So it's really important for them to stay connected with other people. So Chop and Chat tries to do that while they're encouraging healthy eating, because that's another thing I think that falls is their eating habits. If they're only cooking for one, it's a lot of prepackaged food, or if there's food at all,
Yeah, just get something from the freezer section and heat it up in the microwave, right?
Right.
And it's a great fit. Before Chop and Chat, when we used to do markets, especially at senior centers, a lot of seniors would come down, they would buy produce, then they would come back down again just to socialize.
Sure.
So to have something organized where you're able to put all of that together, it's just a great service.
We've got great feedback from that, and we bring the vegetables, and some of the vegetables maybe they've never tried before,
Right.
or they don't know how to use. We give them a recipe. They can take it back and fix it right away, or put it in the freezer for later. A lot of the recipes go right in the crock pot, and I've had participants tell me they get 2 or 3 meals out of that. So a lot of our participants have told us how they're starting to think more about what they eat.
Oh, wow.
And we've had several tell us how they've started losing weight and eating better. So it really makes their quality of life better, and it gives them that social connection where they know when Chop and Chat comes back, they can see those people again. So
Well, these are all good things, and so all of this is so the Dining for Dollars event and Lives of Commitment and other fundraisers through the course of a year kind of help defray the cost of the program. So it goes to paying overhead, salaries, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Because all of the organization for these various things, they always cost money, right?
Oh, yeah. It's always about money, but we also do have a nice group of volunteers too, for our committees for fundraising, who give their time to put this together. And we have lots of sponsors who are faithful to our program too. So, we're very blessed to have all those people on board with us. So,
what does sponsorship mean, Mike?
Sponsorship means supporting our efforts to support the community. So we're basically looking for local sponsors to help out. There's various levels, and you can sponsor an individual table. You can buy a seat to come to the event, and all of the proceeds go to support Faith in Action.
Now, how much does it cost to go to the event?
well, it's $30 a ticket.
$30 a ticket.
Sponsorships for tables run from $550 to $200.
Okay.
And with there's 3 sponsorships. Each sponsorship gives you a certain number of seats. So
I know that one of the traditional sponsors for Dining for Dollars has been the United Methodist Homes.
yes.
So and I know that they generally bring a crew with them, because they bring a number of the folks folks out. I've helped serve their table once, so I can only say it from that perspective. But who are some of the other people that have traditionally sponsored the event?
We usually get some sponsorships from, last year we got one from Brookdale East, and also from, I'm going to say, right, CDPHP? Or is that Lives of Commitment? I get confused. But
I get confused by them too.
But United Methodist Home, some of the churches will sponsor a table, especially if their clergy is serving that night. And trying to think of another one, but it escapes me at this time.
Yeah.
And if you have a business or an organization and you're looking for a great night out, consider sponsoring a table. Come out, you can have a great meal, have entertainment, people sing, they relax. It's a fun social event. And the proceeds go to support senior citizens, the work we do with senior citizens in our community.
And we almost always have some type of entertainment there.
We usually have Doug Beardsley and he will play music in the background. Mm-hmm. Very nice. And then, of course, there's the raffles that can be a form of amusement, too.
Well, yeah, because everybody wants to know who picked it, and they go through and they put their little ticket stubs inside of each one of the and we always have some really neat prizes there, too, right?
We do. We get a lot of nice donations from local businesses, and we try to put together a nice little package for people to try to win,
So let's talk a little bit more about Faith in Action volunteers, because it seems to me as if, in some ways, I mean, the program has really been expanding here recently, because we're in the middle of building season for the Ramp It Up project, and this is another place where we're connecting youth with older adults, and I think. Wasn't it 60% or 70% of all the ramps that we've built have been for seniors?
Last year was 65%.
65%?
This year we received 26 applications for ramps, and 23 of them were senior citizens. So a good percentage of the ramps are built for seniors. And we have quite a few interesting stories regarding that. People that have been in their home for 6 months and not able to leave, and or people who have surgeries or rehab and they can't get back into their home unless they have a ramp available for them. So
yeah, I remember one of the ramps that we did. Remember the 50th anniversary ramp that we did 2 years ago?
Yes.
And the gentleman who the man in the couple, the husband, he used to try to take her wheelchair, pick it up and carry it down 2 flights of stairs. Mm-hmm. And it was it was one of those motorized wheelchairs, which was not light, but he ended up hurting himself. He was an elderly person himself, and he ended up hurting himself trying to get this thing down those stairs. And then the wife hadn't been out of the house. She needed to get to the doctors, and she hadn't been able to even get to the doctors in 3 months. Mm-hmm. So it was really a bad situation. And I still remember her going down the wheelchair ramp and having, and she looked at the crew that was working on it, and she goes, "Free at last,
yes.
Free at last." And it was one of those things that she was talking about, trying to walk her dog, and now she can walk her dog again, and now she has a little bit more access to the outside world. It's one of those great stories. I still remember it every time I think about that program. Is that woman when she came down that ramp and said, "Free at last." I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and it all goes back to that social isolation again, too.
Right.
Because they can't get out to do many of the things we take for granted, like to attend a family function or go to church or even sit outside. I had the daughter of one ramp recipient told me about, a lot of these ramps are very intricate because we have to follow certain standards with ADA standards. And she said that it came out to a nice platform where her mom could just go sit and enjoy being outside. So even simple things like that really enrich their lives a lot. And we take that for granted.
We do.
And,
I'll tell you, I actually had an experience in my new position meeting with someone, and one of her family members, in the blink of an eye, his life changed. And suddenly, he didn't have the ability to get in and out of his house. And she was talking about, of all the things as he was going through rehab that he was worried about, how is he going to get out into the community? And Ramp It Up was there to put a ramp together to help him with that.
Sure.
And the impact that that had. And we both just sat there and we had tears in our eyes. It was just such an emotional story. So,
well, I don't think we really realize how many people out there really need that help. And the youth and the adult mentors work together, and it's just a great thing to see them working and constructing this huge big ramp that is going to change somebody's life.
yeah.
So it's really a great program. Great program.
My guests today are Mike Leahey, who is the Director of Development at the Council of Churches, and Sue Spencer, who's the Faith in Action Volunteers Coordinator. So let's talk a little bit more about how important are friendly visits, do you think?
Well, again, it goes back to isolation again, and the friendly visits, the companionship, I think, helps the senior feel connected to things that are out there in the community of sorts. And I think the visitor even gets something. I mean, how nice to sit and chat with someone who probably has a whole lifetime full of stories to share with you on that, and we have several requests for friendly visitors, and we have people that visit once a week or twice a month, depending on scheduling. And I know of a couple. We have one volunteer who works during the day, and he goes over and visits during his lunchtime, and he takes his lunch, and the senior gets her Meals on Wheels lunch, and they have lunch together every Friday. I just think that's a great story, and I have another volunteer who would go to visit an elderly gentleman, and he used to always go down to the corner diner. That's where all his friends would hang out. So they would do that every week and have dinner. Now that gentleman is in the nursing home, but the volunteer still goes to visit him a couple times a month in the nursing home.
It's amazing.
So it's just such a nice connection for both people. And any one of my volunteers will tell you that they just love getting to know these people and feeling like they're an important part of their life.
I remember one story from there was a gentleman who started volunteering, and he would visit another gentleman, they found out that they were employed by the same company. They had been employed. One had been retired for a number of years, and the other one had just retired, and they get to talking, and then they begin playing chess. That was a big thing for them. So they played chess every time they would get together, and it really did evolve into a much richer relationship than just volunteering. A real friendship developed, and I still remember when the older gentleman died. The volunteer was more than just touched. He was grieving the loss of that person.
That happens quite often.
Yeah.
We hear about that a lot from the volunteers. We actually have, when that's happened to a few of the volunteers, they need to take a break.
Yeah.
From volunteering, because it's so overwhelming for them.
You don't realize just how important these connections are either. I mean, so many of our seniors in our area, their children do not live in the immediate vicinity, and so they may see them once or twice a year, and outside of that, they really live somewhat isolated from most people, and even their friends. Their friends are dying off, or they end up getting more and more isolated.